that is awesome. And it's so important too, right? Like, and I think you talk about your past and having the other two companies, and I do think there's so much to learn every day in business, right? When it comes to assorting your team and who you want on your team, and for me, a big piece of it was hiring people that filled the skill sets that I don't possess, right? The ones
Yes.
that are really smart in different avenues. And that when I first started the Find a Wrench side, that was so important to me. I wasn't a recruiter. I came from industry. I had no idea what the heck I was doing. So being able to, hire somebody that was an expert at that, and it made it tough in the early days, right? Because I bootstrapped everything initially, where I'm paying for stuff out of pocket. We're not generating a lot of revenue at that point, and
Yes.
so I wasn't willing to sacrifice money or losing somebody over money in order to get good people in the door, and that puts pressure on you in that
It
leadership
does.
role to be able to provide. But that became a me problem. I got to figure that part out. I got somebody else that can handle this other part, and then we kept growing as a business. And not to say we're perfect in any aspect,
No.
we still got a long way to go. But it is so funny how much you can learn when you really kind of ingrain yourself in business, and really surround yourself with good people. And I think it's, to me, going into it, when I first started the business, I had no idea what to expect. And I've got a really good quick story for you. You talk
Yeah, sure.
about how people grew up, with the American dream of buying a home, getting a job, and then staying at that job for 30 years. My family's very much that way. Other than my dad, who owns a shop, I was down at my dad's shop. I had quit my job at the same time that we were having Bo, right? So Bo was a preemie, came 5 weeks early, and so I wrote up the business plan in the NICU, and so then
Wow.
I quit.
There's something nobody knew about Jay right there. Go ahead.
I quit my really, really good job, really good stable job, to start a business. And so I was down at my dad's shop one day, and my grandpa walks in, and this is like 2 weeks after I'd started the business, and I'm like, "Hey, Grandpa, did you hear I started a business and I quit my job?" And he's like, "Yes." And the look of disappointment in his face is something I'll never forget, because he's just like, "What are you doing?" And my mom was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And like,
So
it
much
was,
support.
and they were all super supportive. It was just initial shock of like, well, you're leaving your really good stable job. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And so it is a little bit. And even at first, when I first started the company, there wasn't another company like what we did.
Mhm.
And so people are like, "Okay, what? Like, what are you doing?" Like, my friends all thought I was insane. It just, looking back at it, it's like I was almost embarrassed to tell people that I had started a company, which is, as weird as it sounds,
That
it
is,
was
yeah.
true. Yeah.